everyone, and welcome back to Labeled, a brand in the making. I'm Ariel.
And I'm John.
And we have another wonderful episode, like always.
Yes, we do. I'm excited about this one as well. I always say that, but I feel like I'm extra excited about this one.
Yeah. Well, we're first going to talk about this wonderful photo shoot that we had for John's new arrivals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is stuff that he ordered months ago. It's not the stuff that we talked about in the last podcast, so just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about that. We're also, for next week, I just wanted to let you guys know that we won't be doing a podcast, but instead we want you to visit our YouTube channel, which is also labeled A Brand in the Making, and you can see behind the scenes looks of his photo shoot, which I think is awesome.
Yes, it's just amazing because you can see the process. You can see everyone that was a part of it. See the models, see the clothes. So you're in for a treat.
Oh yeah. So we have to talk about this podcast.
Yeah.
The photo shoot. So
Mm-hmm.
what was it like just even planning it? Because I know it was a little stressful.
It was because I think initially I had thought the product that I was gonna use would be coming in beginning of October. At least that's what a lot of my suppliers had informed me on. But with production and with customs and all that stuff, it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time to get
I
here.
get that.
And as Ariel knows, I was most of the time that was wasted was in terms of getting it ready and everything like that for the photo shoot was customs, because now because of the pandemic, because of what's going on, anything that's being imported from Europe, China, wherever, it's going to take a lot longer. So one of the items, one of the designers, Skims Paris, where they do like leather goods and things like that. It took literally an entire week to get out of clearance from DHL, and that was a stressful process. So we had to move the photo shoot from, we were thinking October 7th to the next week. And then I got a notification that Dawood, another designer that I carry, was coming in. I think they said they were coming in, they shipped on the 12th and it was going to come in on that week. Luckily, they shipped through UPS. So UPS was a much seamless process. It was much easier. Literally, they just asked me for information, sent that information in. Next day, literally came, it shipped on the 12th, it came in on the 16th. And I was like, okay, great. So I wanted to do the photo shoot as quick as possible because I had an idea in a campaign that I wanted to present for not necessarily a relaunch, but mostly if I wanted to present this to retailers, or not retailers, other publications like Vogue, Saks, all that, and also get it on social media, get it on my website, things like that, just to kind of present this new group of designers that I'm carrying in my store.
Okay, you don't want to sit on the product.
Exactly, and I don't want to send the product. I want to make sure I advertise it as soon as possible. Obviously, I'm going to get more sales in November and December because it's the holiday season and everyone's shopping around those times for new product and for new stuff. But I wanted to make sure I get at least somewhat of the October buzz and get that initial interest in first, and then go full force in November, December. So we kind of did this photo shoot really quickly. I kind of thought of it just doing it really quickly, and I was like, well, I had the idea already in stone. It's just kind of setting it up real quickly. And that was kind of the stressful process because I had to get models. I already had a photographer. I already had 2 people that were helping me, Ariel included. And I guess the model part was just kind of not the hardest, but you had to make sure everyone's timing or everyone's times were
yeah, that's true. But I feel like it worked out in your favor.
It definitely did.
Your model brought a friend.
Yeah.
She killed it.
She certainly did.
And so just shout out to Amanda and Nika.
Yes.
They were our wonderful models, and you can see them next week in our YouTube
Mm-hmm.
video. And shout out to our wonderful photographer, Alfonso,
Mm-hmm.
who happened to just, help us out with this podcast and get recognized.
Exactly. And also shout out to our creative director / my go-to person, Paige Chang. Girl, you did your thing. And shout out to you, Ariel. I mean, you literally did your thing out there too. So
We'll see. We'll see how the video turns out. I was the one filming.
Yeah. No, but you did a good job even like giving me suggestions on how it should look. Because like, you know, when you're on the shoot, like I was thinking of multiple different things. I was thinking of the angles. I was thinking of which clothes will look best on which model, because, you know, one is a little bit taller, one's a little bit shorter than the other one. And like just trying to think of that process, and also thinking of like how to style them, how to make it look editorial, how to make it look, you know, aesthetically pleasing, so that way customers are like, oh, I want that, like instantly. So having multiple like hats and like thinking about that, it was an easier process to have people there to kind of like do what they do best. You know, Paige did the styling and the directing of posing and all that stuff, so I trusted her on that. You were doing the behind the scenes, but also giving me suggestions, so I trusted you on that. Alfonso, the photography. Myself, I can just watch and see if there's something that I didn't like or something I want to change. I would make any suggestions or make, you know, general direction on that.
But it was for you to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I know on my first photo shoot that I did years ago for college, I was just like, this is so cool. I'm looking at my clothes, and I had the photographer actually direct everything, because I know I'd be like, she looks pretty.
No, I think I even the directing part is like the hardest, because I think you have an idea, at least for me, I have an idea in my mind and I know what I want it to look like, but conveying that message to the models, to the people that are working for you, or just trying to delegate that information to them, it's kind of hard, because it's like they don't see your vision, you see your vision. And I'm glad that for the most part, Paige, she knows my vision, she knows what I'm trying to go for, so she was able to kind of really execute on that level. And then I can communicate if there's something that I don't like. And I've been working with Amanda for like literally about a year. So like I've known her for like 2 years. So like we've been working with each other for a year, and so it's been very helpful to kind of work with someone that you kind of know. And like she's grown as a model, to be honest. Like in the first beginning, you know, she was still learning, she was still understanding how to like pose and things like that. When she came up today, I was like, dang, like you really have been really working. Like you've been out here working, and you know, she's doing her thing. Like, and then Nika kind of like having those two, like that friendship, and make it into something really interesting and very like romantic in a sense. It just made it all the best. So
but they were so professional.
Yeah,
I know if I were to do this with my friend, I would be giggling. I would not be working. They would giggle like a second, and then they'd be like fierce.
Right, fierce, very fierce, and like they both like, and I like how like and ambiguous they are in terms of like you don't know what they are in terms of like race or nationality. I like that feature from them, because we were just saying like, you know, Nika, she could be Hispanic or she could be Filipino or whatever, and even Amanda, like similar, Hispanic or whatever. So it's like, I love the ambiguity of them both, and like just how they were able to really connect with each other. It was really, really cool and very interesting to kind of see. And you know, I think another thing that I liked about the entire shoot was just like being amongst like people that you trust, like essentially everyone was like my friend, like Amanda, my friend, Nika, a newfound friend, Paige, friend, you, friend, Alfonso, friend. So like it was just all cool to kind of like you use the people that you've known the longest and trust to build something really amazing.
Well, I feel like you're more comfortable than directing, because I feel if it's a stranger, you feel kind of weird telling them what to do.
Yeah.
At least that's what I felt when working with a model before.
I don't mind, because I mean, I don't mind working with strangers, because, you know, obviously you want to give them their credit, and if they need, you know, help building their portfolio, I would definitely work with a stranger in a heartbeat. But I guess it's much easier when you're just with a friend, because it's like obviously you get more comfortable, you can laugh, you can giggle, you can do all those things. The last photographer I worked with, his name was Max. He was I had never worked with him. I actually got him off of, I think it was either Craigslist or I got him off of Indeed. That's my go-to. This was like a photo shoot that we did before the pandemic with Amanda, and Paige was helping me with that.
Oh, okay.
And he was really cool. Like he did his thing. He was very professional, very good looking too. But but you know, it was just good to have him on that as well. And he was a great photographer as well. Then he started charging, and I was like, okay.
Wow. All right.
Right.
So check out the video next week.
Yes.
Just keep a lookout. We'll also post it on our Instagram so you're aware of when it's posted.
Yes.
But to continue in this episode, last week we spoke about John and how he starts an online retail business, how he gets his products, what it costs. Now we're going to talk about, making those collections.
Right.
Since we both have made a collection before, me, I've had experience with schooling. You, not so much.
Yeah.
But it'll be cool to see how you can make a collection. I mean, you don't need schooling for it.
You really don't need school. Like, you don't need. School is good. I'm a huge advocate on education and kind of learning what you don't know. But also, if you're very like crafty and very like, if you hustle hard enough or whatever, you can make it. You can get it done. You don't need like this big education in order to get a collection done. A lot of these designers, especially the ones that you probably follow, they didn't really study. Some of them didn't study fashion. I don't think. I know Tom Ford didn't study fashion. He studied architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use skills from different
areas to create the collection, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing about fashion.
And there's no set rules on how you can get inspiration, which is wonderful. Like, how did you get inspiration from the collection you just made?
So, I got inspiration. So, I was really interested in like the 70s and 90s look. So, I was doing a lot of research on different So if you go back into the history, in the 70s and 90s, it was about housewives. So a lot of not 70s and 90s, 70s and 60s, 50s, 60s and 70s. And there was a lot about housewives. When the war ended and everyone was moving out of New York, they were going into like the more suburban area. So these women were dressing in these like long, flowy like dresses or like these kind of like, it's not similar to like the flapper dresses, but like more like, I guess structural and like, what's like poofy type dresses or something. Like it's, those like, those like ball gowns type thing. I don't know if you're thinking of, I don't know what I'm thinking of.
I'm just trying to see how that goes into 60s and 70s.
I know, I'm trying to think of like, because I definitely had like a big concept behind it. So like, have you ever watched that movie Home Alone?
Yes.
Yes. So I was thinking of, what's his name character? Kevin character? His mom's.
No, I haven't watched it recently.
Right. So I was thinking of his mom's look, because she was very like that mid-housewife, like, or even like Ferris Bueller, like his mom, like dressing in that like.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
with the little apron in the front.
Yes, those type of styles.
Okay.
So I was trying to think of that, but I also wanted to make it more modern, and make it more edgy, and make it have a little bit of like sex appeal to it. So a lot of the dresses were like either like long sleeves or like quarter or like 3/4 sleeves. A lot of them had like a little like detailing at the front where it was like it looked like a wraparound, but it was not really a wraparound. Okay. So it's like a mock neck type, but has like a little V in the front. So I was trying to think of those little elements that I can implement to my collection or into the collection that I visioned for myself. So when I put those together, I just kind of like, I wasn't sketching at the time, so I had no idea how to sketch. I didn't know anything about sketching a collection until I bought this book. But then at that time, I wasn't sketching. So what I did was I got some references from like Pinterest, Instagram. I researched a lot online, and I just gave it to my pattern maker, and I was like, okay, can you do this detail in like a dress form? And she did it. She was able to kind of, so one of my dresses has like a little like wrap around type mock neck thing, and it looks like it's like and it has like a high slit too, so it's like a wrap dress, but this little mock neck thing was a reference from like a 50s housewife look. So those little like elements, but still making it modern, that's what kind of really inspired me, because I like the juxtaposition between those two, because obviously no one's wearing, 50s, 70s, 60s looks anymore, especially housewives looks, and trying to make it sexy, like that's unheard of. So I feel like I accomplished it, but it, and a lot of people, especially when I produced it and everyone started looking at it, they really did love what I made. So I think that was kind of what my head was going. It was hard to accomplish because I didn't know how to obviously speak for it or like say what I wanted to look to my pattern maker, but then she obviously eventually got it.
So how we can do that for people who are just starting out like that too is you can always drape.
Yeah, I drape.
I just want to pull this out, okay? So you can get a little mini dress form, and you can get fabric that you want to create clothes in, and you can manipulate it in a way to make
Exactly.
a garment.
I actually, even in the beginning, when I was starting out, creating my collection, I wanted to learn how to drape so bad because I was watching this behind the scenes, behind the atelier for like Dior, and like you saw these artisans draping like the collection for John Galliano or for Raf. Oh, I actually saw Dior and Me with Raf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was actually what kind of like inspired me to start draping. And so I was trying to drape, and I was like, I bought all these books to learn how to drape. I remember I even asked you if you had a book, and you were like, no, it's for me. And I was like, oh, well, excuse me. So then I eventually gave in and bought a book, refurbished. And I started using that, and it taught me a lot on like draping and stuff. Because I didn't like pattern making because pattern making was too mathematical, and I'm not a math person. And so I was like, well, draping will be easier. Then I found out draping is still the same thing as like pattern making, just a little, but there's a little bit differences.
I feel like draping is a lot harder, more challenging when you have to take the drape and make it into a pattern. But if you're just gonna drape it and give it to a pattern maker, like the photo to a pattern maker, it's super easy.
Right, but wouldn't that be kind of like the? Oh wait, yeah, because it's like majority of your draping you're trying to make it to a pattern, right? So it's like, wouldn't that be the point of it, right?
To make it into a pattern?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's challenging. Cause
Okay.
I know when you drape something and then have to put it in a pattern to get it onto paper,
Oh, right.
hate it.
Yeah. I'm not doing that.
So then you always, like when I was making things at home and trying to sew it, I couldn't drape something because just the challenge of taking it off a dress form and putting it on paper was like not even worth it to me.
Right. Yeah. That's why I take pictures and just send it to the pattern maker, and she'll understand it. It's just easier that way, to be honest. But I mean, that's for me because I didn't study fashion design. I like I said before, I went to undergrad for biology. I'm in my master's getting a fashion merchandising degree, and so design was not really something that I knew how to do or studied my own. I just kind of watched a lot of YouTube videos. I bought a lot of books. I have a lot of those books in my room right now. And I just kind of went to different courses, like in-person classes, to kind of teach me how to sew, teach me how to drape, teach me how to pattern make. And so that's how I kind of learned in that regard. But like sometimes I even envy you because you had like a 4-year experience where you learned with like these top people. And I'm like, oh, I should have done that because I feel like it would have been easier. But then I realized I'd rather be in the retail route than the designer route. Because I feel like I like everyone's aesthetic, everyone's designed, everyone's point of view. So I feel like that fits me personally, if that makes sense.
It does. But plus, going to school is expensive.
Parsons is expensive. Even like my school, even Academy of Art University, it's expensive. It's expensive. I would say it's expensive. It's not as expensive as Parsons though, but it's expensive. I feel like all schools are expensive.
They really are.
So, but just for you guys, I think you don't necessarily need to go to school in order to be a fashion designer. It will just help in the process.
It'll help you get a job because a lot of jobs are looking for a design degree, unfortunately.
Right. But even an associate's degree, don't you think? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you can go to like, I don't know, FITM. She
Yeah.
gawks every time I say that word.
But if you're gonna just start your own collection and you can't draw, there's also this too. I just like to point it out too because these are just
Okay, look at you, Vanna White, with the props.
Excuse me. So there's a sketchbook called Fashionary.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know how to draw a croquis or a sketch, and a croquis is just like a little sketch, or the figure behind it, and you just want to sketch the clothing because drawing the figure is just like a nightmare for you.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me and have just gotten lazy, you can get this book. And they have, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but they have little dotted lines to outline the figures.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't see it, I've sketched a couple things, which I don't mind.
Show your collection.
No, I'm not going to show the current collection. You don't get to see
You're just going to
that.
show them.
But like, it comes out like this.
Yeah.
You get to see the figure, and then you get to draw it in. And
Yeah.
if you're wondering how designers draw with marker and it seems seamless and you don't have the little streaks, Prismacolor.
Oh, I've heard of
Markers.
those. Those are expensive.
They are if you go to Michael's. Don't
Yeah.
go to Michael's. It's overpriced. Go to an art store like Blick Art Materials or
Oh, yeah.
Utrecht, or I don't know if Amazon has
I think
it.
I've seen those on Amazon. I've seen those on.
Yeah,
I've
they
seen-
should not be costing you $6 a pen like
Right.
Michael's does. They do not cost that much.
Yeah, that's
so don't do that.
expensive.
'Cause-
Yeah, and if you want to buy like, because they have a whole color range, so if you want to buy the entire color range, that's gonna cost you like over $100.
It's going to cost you a lot, but these are so worth it.
Yeah.
Especially if you want every single color, because I know in school I had a ton of these.
Yeah.
And I was so pissed when I went to school and I found out that they do not actually cost $6 per marker.
Mm.
Could have saved so much
And
money.
those they last long, right?
They do.
Yeah.
Yes. And then to outline, Micron.
I've seen those at I think you can get those at Joann's or something.
You can. I think these are pretty basic in pricing. I
Yeah.
don't think they mark it up too much.
Yeah, it's like, what is it, like $1, $2 or something?
It depends. I usually get the pack because I like the bolder ones too.
Yeah.
These are great pens for outlining too.
Yeah.
So
And
if
what's the brand name?
Micron.
Micron. Yeah, great product. Great for sketching, all that stuff. But if you don't like sketching on paper
Draping.
or draping,
Photos.
you can literally do it through Illustrator. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Ariel kind of showed me how. So she recently, I remember I came over to her place, and she recently showed me how she does her like her sketching through Illustrator. So she basically just makes like a flat sketch, and it's very easy. It's very technical. It's basically what a lot of pattern makers do to create like a technical package for or a tech pack for your pieces for your collection. So she showed me how to do it. I went back home and actually YouTubed it, and then I have this thing called lynda.com. I have this educational website that I go on because I have an book. What is it, like a library card? They give me. I can use the platform for free, so I don't have to pay anything. So just a little tip for you guys: if you have a library card, you can use the library card to go on to lynda.com to kind of learn whatever you want to learn, whether it's marketing, digital marketing, sketching, all that stuff. So I went on to Lynda. I typed in technical sketch flats, flat or something like that. So I typed it in, and then it's funny enough, another woman who wrote a book about this and who actually teaches, I think she teaches at FIT or she teaches at FITM or one of those schools.
These are like on the different side of the globe.
I know,
The
but
globe with states.
but she teaches at one of those schools, and she actually did like a whole it's like a 4-hour like teaching lesson, but like you can break it down into like segments. So if you want to learn how to create like a sketch for like a shirt or a sketch for like a sleeve or whatever, she has it break down in segments. And literally, I just followed everything that she did, and I remember I did like my first sketch, and I sent it to her, and she's like, "Oh, it looks good," and I was like, "Yes, it does."
But I feel like digital illustration is also a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you only really have to sketch on the digital media. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it on Illustrator and with the line pen, you only have to sketch half of the sketch and then flip it.
and then flip it, yeah.
Which is great. Or if you want to fill it in with color and you made a print, you can input a print there, which
Yeah. I stopped at that part because I don't know how to do the part. One thing about like technical flats for me is like if I'm ever trying to like show. So I created like a color story of what I want for my next collection, and if I wanted to show the colors in the garments themselves, actually putting the colors in the technical flags, that was hard.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
It's challenging in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and I know when I went to school, it's just like a lot of information all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get it. So that's the only reason I would recommend going to school is if you really want to do stuff digitally
Yeah.
and you want to use Illustrator, that might be more like beneficial to you.
Yeah, I agree with that because I knew how to use Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, all that stuff. But like being in my, I guess getting my master's in fashion merchandising, they have a digital technologies and fashions class that I took the first semester. Literally, my Adobe Creative Cloud skills with those platforms like increased by like 1,000 because I was just like I already had an idea of how to use it because I've been creating graphic design work for the longest. But it amplified even more after taking that course where I was able to create really cool, like unique things. And they taught me a little bit how to sketch, but since I was a merchandiser, I wasn't really taught how to sketch clothing.
Yeah.
But like how to create like spaces for like a retail store, or how to create a mock-up like floor plan, things like that. Things for like visual merchandising and all that stuff because I was a merchandiser. So that kind of taught me that idea kind of transitioned into like using technical flats because it's kind of the same process or the same concept in a sense. So yeah, you definitely, if you feel like there's like you feel stagnant in like learning how to do all these things and you feel like you want to learn, I think school is a good idea to kind of get that general information. But if you already have a degree and you don't really need you don't want to get another master's degree, you can always get an associate's at FIDM. That's what I was thinking at first, but then I was like, I need more knowledge, and I wanted to kind of. She hates FIDM for whatever reason. She just hates FIDM. I don't know why. It's the FIDM in Parsons rivalry, whatever.
No,
or West or East Coast.
I just didn't like how,
Mm-hmm.
they are. I mean, I did an interview with them when I was looking for schools. They were going to be like a last resort, sorry. But I remember going in, I did a collection just really quick right before the meeting.
Yeah.
And they just thought I was lying. It was like, there's no way that you did this the night before coming here. And I was like, if this impresses you and I haven't even started, that's kind of terrifying.
Right.
Because this is what I learned at the Parsons summer program, and I know that's not going to be as tough as their school.
Right.
Plus, I'm not a very good test taker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my grades did not match my SAT scores.
Right.
So she's like, or I don't know who interviewed me, but they're like, you're lying about something here because I was one of the valedictorians, but my test scores don't match.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? I don't need you guys.
I got into Parsons. I don't care.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not even gonna apply.
Wow.
And then my old boss worked at got a degree in FIDM, clearly. So
The shade just keeps on coming.
yeah, I was like, I have a better degree than my boss, and I know that in fashion it doesn't really matter, but it matters.
It does matter.
It's like, what the heck?
Like where you go to school and like what type of education you get. Like you get like think of it this way. At Parsons, you get people that work for Marchesa, or teachers, instructors that work for Marchesa, that worked for Alexander Wang, Alexander McQueen. Same thing at Central St. Martin's in London. You get those people that go on to do great things and they work for these top-notch companies, so you have that connection. Mm-hmm. So depending on what school you go to, you definitely want to build that relationship and build that connection with that person so you can get a job after you graduate.
Well, but the issue is, like, if you're in New York, Parsons really will hold its name. Like, you'll get it, they'll be like, oh, you went to Parsons? Okay, great. Or FIT.
Right.
And Central St. Martin's is one of the top schools in the world.
Yeah.
Parsons is the top school in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that when I'm here in L.A., people are like, Parsons? It's like, you don't know what Parsons is? It's like the Harvard of design. I'm insulted. I know I did an interview to be a buyer at Ross.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I did. Mm-hmm. And they're like, why Parsons?
Well, I will say they hire, I know this for a fact because my friend used to work for Ross as a buyer. They hire majority FIDM students.
Well, great for them. But the fact that they said, why Parsons, I was done. I just stopped at the interview. I was like, I don't want to work here. Like, if you don't know the difference between FITM and Parsons, I don't know what to tell you. And I mean, if you're listening and you have a degree at FITM, I apologize, but sorry.
Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, I think I took a class at FITM one time, and I think it was a good school. I think I would have learned a lot more at either Parsons or Central St. Martin's, or even FIT, I feel like.
Yeah, FIT is more, you'll learn more of like making the clothes, which I think is beneficial if you're starting out and you can't afford to work with a production team. Mm-hmm. So that's the one.
And the good thing about it is, like, you know, when I was even speaking to, like, when we were speaking to Angela Luna, like the opportunities and the, like, you know, the resources that they have for fashion design students, for students that want to start their collection, that want to showcase their collection, and like just, yeah, it's tough to kind of get those things because, you know, they're looking for that top-notch student that can be the next Tom Ford or be the next whoever, because they want to have that reputation on their, you know, on their name, and that makes sense. But they still have those resources for those students, and, you know, the fact that Angela was able to get those things, it kind of helped her get her brand to where it is now. So, I mean, it's good. It's definitely good if you feel like you're a good designer and you can develop your design skills through Parsons. The resources are there. You just got to work real hard to get those. Real hard.
Yes. And you may ask, okay, why are we talking about like creating a collection when we're labeled a brand in the making?
Yeah.
But when you're starting your brand, you need to think of what your brand is when you're designing. Mm-hmm. You can't change it. You can't one day be designing punk rock and then the next day like elegant 40s style Christian Dior new look. I mean, you can't do that because you're gonna lose your customers. They're gonna. And
a lot of designers do that nowadays, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah. Did you see how Balenciaga started and then how they are? Because Diet Prada posted something, and I forgot that Balenciaga used to
be like very couture.
Yes.
Like, even like Givenchy. So as maybe some of you know or don't know, Givenchy, they're who was Riccardo Tisci was the designer for like 10 years. Then he left and went to Burberry. Then it became Sarah Gellar, who was under Riccardo Tisci. Then she left after 3 years, and now it was Matthew Lee, I think his name, or Lee Matthews. And with Riccardo Tisci transitioning with Sarah Gellar, it was fine because she knew the aesthetic of Givenchy when Riccardo Tisci was the creative director. Matthew Lee, or Lee Matthew, whatever his name is, he didn't work under Sarah. He didn't work under her. He kind of was an outside like pick. So when she left, he came in, and if you see this season's collection for Givenchy, it's ugly. It's like, what am I looking at? It looked honestly like it was kind of like a mix of Balenciaga. Like it looked like Balenciaga.
Well, see, this is what I don't understand is they bring in these outside designers, mm-hmm. and then they put their own take on it, and it's like, I know they have what's his name for Louis Vuitton.
Men's or women's?
Virgil.
Is it for men's? Speaking of men's or do you mean women's?
I forget that they're not the same. No, doesn't he design for women's too?
No, it's Nikolai Ghesquier.
Oh, well...
He designs women's, but Virgil designs men's.
Okay, well, one of them did a recent collection, and they had Vogue on the shirts, and I'm like, okay, guys, I
think that's Virgil, then.
Okay, I was like, this is a Parisian brand. Mm-hmm. Why are you putting American politics in...
Then it's definitely Virgil, because he's American.
And I couldn't understand it. I was like, I get it. I get you want to put a message, like you have, like, the mm-hmm. following to do so. Mm-hmm. But again, you need to remember the brand that you're representing.
But I think he was thinking of because he knows Louis Vuitton is going to get so much mass media, like regardless of what they do. So I think he wanted to put that messaging out there because he knows that people are going to like look at it. Even Americans are going to look at it.
I get it, but then do like a campaign separate. Like put it on your runway show that's going to come out.
True. I get
next year when the election's already over.
Yeah. But also, he could be thinking of, like, maybe in France or wherever, there could be, like, some type of political climate that's corrupt or something, and they have to vote as well. I mean, I don't know politics. I'm not into politics, but I'm just saying maybe he's universally voting can be utilized in different countries as well.
I guess.
but I get it. Like,
I highly doubt that as an American designer.
I think he was mostly thinking of the American consumer. Yeah.
Which again, I get it for New York Fashion Week.
Mm-hmm.
Some designers did
that
like that.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay,
like he could have done it for his own collection, to be honest, too. Like he's
Off-White.
Yeah, Off-White. Because I mean, it's edgy. It's something he would want to put out there as well. But
and I know these designers, the brands, they want to stay relevant,
mm-hmm.
but like.
Yeah, because even like before Karl Lagerfeld passed away, he did a feminist runway show. Remember that runway show for Chanel? They all walked down the show, and then they all came out like in a protesting type. Yeah,
it was a little weird, but he did not change his clothes.
Right.
They were still
the same. Okay, got it.
But like all these other brands, they're bringing in these younger designers
mm-hmm.
who are going to make them relevant in today's society. But it's like you're losing the essence of the brand.
Right.
And you just need to remember this when you're making your own brand.
And it's listen, you guys get years and years of archives. Like, Chanel has over 100 years of archives. Dior is same. Balenciaga and maybe Givenchy, they have a bunch of archives that they can look at from when the founders started the brand mm-hmm. that they can manipulate or reimagine or reinterpret. Yeah. So it's like, how did it become this? You have access to the archives. How did it become something totally different from what the owner originally started? I get it. The consumer is different now. Like, they're not shopping the way that they used to, or they don't dress the way that they used to, so you want to appeal to that. But you can still modernize it to make it look appealing to the Gen Z or the millennial customer. Yeah, and if you can't, like if I had, my brand, if it was just going to change so much and everything was going to be this unisex mm-hmm. men's clothing, then I would just stop the brand. That's where it ends, because I don't want to lose mm-hmm. what my vision was. I don't want to keep losing who I am as a designer just to fit in with what other people want. Exactly. Like, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, side note, I like the androgynous look, so don't listen to her. But that's not my style. I know. And so I like, Dior. I like things polished and mm-hmm. feminine. So, and I know when I went to school, professors were like, you need to get out of that. You need to design like this. You need to do this. And I would do it. They're like, all right, you know what? You can go back. So my question is, just so people can get an understanding, why do you feel like the Dior, the tailored, the more like, I guess, couture look is for it? Why do you think that's still relevant now? Or why do you feel like you still flock to that? Like, why do you want that? So. Because it's just like I don't know how to explain it. Mm-hmm. It's just, don't you want to look luxurious and just proper? Right. I mean, so but when did you see Fear of God and Zegna collaboration? No. You didn't see it? Okay. Did you see Fear of God's collection? No. See, I don't look at other collections besides the ones that I care about. See, that's the problem. Like a problem, and I know teachers would always be like, do you know the designers' names? Like, you're saying all these designers who are now designing for these top brands. Yeah. I don't know any of them. I just gravitate towards what I like. And I know people are like, well, couture is a dying art. No. But I met with, Michael Russo. Yeah, Ralph and Russo. And I asked him, like, are you concerned about that? Because I've done my research and I know there's only 4,000 people who are willing to buy couture. Which is $30,000 and up. Yes. Piece, like, garment. Yes. Mm-hmm. But he's like, no, they're still buying into it. And I feel like this, they're going to go back to it. They're going to be like, you know what, I want to be more covered up. But you do notice that there are a lot of designers that are doing more contemporary, like new designers that are coming up that are doing more like luxury contemporary. Because luxury can mean so many different things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, luxury could be like slow fashion, where it's like they're not trying to mass produce and make a bunch of crap like how Chanel does, where they don't make a bunch of crap, but I'm saying like they have a bunch of stores, so they have to produce a bunch of product in order to get it to those stores. So to me, that's not luxury, but the style of the product and like how it looks and how it feels and how it fits, that's luxury for them.
Yes.
For even Victoria and Thomas, they consider themselves a luxury brand, but their form of luxury is
completely different.
Different than what Chanel is. It's not the embroideries. It's not the appliques. It's not the hand stitch. It's more of the, I guess the sustainability, but the slow fashion of it. Like having the customers really fall in love with the product and not having to like look at the collection and just like buy it because it's the brand.
But I think you need a mixture of both.
Yeah.
You need that embroidered, tailored look with something that's, more edgier.
Yeah.
But I can't get on board with trousers that have a slit right where your butt meets your thigh.
Oh, I don't like that. But like when it's a slit in the front, it's like a skinny jean and there's a slit in the front and it like goes. It looks cute. It looks cute with heels on.
Well, yeah, but like
Yeah, I know. It's the style that you're thinking of, and that's been reimagined, remade by every designer and every fast fashion company out there. So I know what you're talking about.
And it's just, and what I've been noticing now is a lot of designers are just losing, like I know they want to be androgynous and appeal to everyone, but then again, you're losing that feminine touch.
Yeah.
The feminine body is amazing. It's like how it curves.
Right.
And I feel like just to put like a sack on top of you and have to work it in a size 0 to a 30, it's no.
So you don't think so, but what if it is like a feminine, like cinched, because in the photo shoot.
Yeah, if it's cinched at the waist.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I feel like it works because I feel like no matter how heavy you get as a female, you will always have a waist.
Yeah. Okay.
Why lose that?
Okay. So you don't like the straight, like, man, like, the menswear type style that can be unisex. You don't like that. So, yeah, so it's like, if you think of, like, Fear of God, a lot of their recent collection, it's for men, but, like, they have women wear it, so it can be unisex for those customers that want to wear suits and want to look cute in suits. Their stuff is mostly, it's not cinched at the waist. It's kind of like oversized and whatnot. So that wouldn't be what you want.
Yeah, but if you have a problem with what I like and don't like, again, I have a certain audience in my mind, and I'm not gonna go back and forth. You're not gonna see these oversized Yeezy looks in my collection, and that's what you need to figure out as a brand. You can't
appeal to everyone.
You can't. No.
But do you think your customer? Because I was reading this article. So I was reading this article about this new designer. And his name is Christopher John Rogers. He won the CFDA of New Emerging Designers. I think you pointed that out to me when you watched it this season. So he won last season. He won this season. And there was an article about him, and he was talking about how his clothing. He's trying to approach the 40, 50, 60-year-olds, not the millennials that are shopping like the most in terms of like luxury consumption. So would your customer base be that? Would you try to appeal to the 40, 50, 60?
I'm appealing to the older crowd because the younger ones, they're going through their little phase right now. Like I feel like we went, well, not me, I was 4, but in the 90s, you know how they used to dress.
Right.
Like, you can look at Friends. It was kind of like the same thing. They're just bringing it back, but then they're going to, start to get jobs and dress professional. Well, hopefully. I've been noticing that they've been making it more casual when you go to work, and I'm just not on board.
Yeah, especially with COVID. I mean, they're gonna be like, listen, you can wear whatever you want.
No, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I was born in the wrong era. So I'm just gonna try to bring that right back to you.
What eras do you think you would be like your aesthetic is?
See, the the aesthetic.
Yeah, or like
40s.
this, like,
40s or 50s.
Okay.
The only issue is I would hate to live during that time as a woman.
Yeah.
Or a female, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would suck.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why I was born in this era, because I would get myself in a lot of trouble if I was born in the other era with my
very unfortunate.
big mouth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah. That's interesting. Because the way that I see it is like, because I'm thinking of I think I'm a progressive thinker. I'm thinking of the person who, right now, they're Gen Z, the millennials. That's the one that's shopping the most. They're spending, if you look at research, and I'm gonna bore you guys for a little bit, so I'm sorry. But like, if you look at research, like, millennials, especially the luxury consuming millennials, they spend over $2 billion in the United States alone. Like, if you look at China, if you look at other, it's probably a little bit more. But in the United, no, sorry, that's a lie. I think maybe like 40 million in the United States, and then 2 billion or maybe even more than that around the world. But baby boomers, no, Gen X baby boomers, those are like the 40 to 70 year olds. They're spending worldwide at least 700 million. I feel like that's so low compared to 2 billion.
yeah, but it's weird because when I was at Neiman Marcus, those were the majority of the clients. I didn't give.
But Neiman Marcus is old though. Neiman Marcus is an old company, and they still do business how they did it 100 years ago. You know this. We both work with them. Like the customers that I'm trying to attract from my store, they shop at Moda Operandi. I mean, I know your mom shops there. I know my aunt shops there too. But I'm saying like majority of like millennial shop Moda Operandi, Net-a-Porter.
But they still had the luxury designers.
Yeah, but I've noticed that now, Net-a-Porter and Moda Operandi are kind of like reaching out to these more edgier or like producing or getting collections from these more edgier designers than they are of like the more top luxury. Like they still have them, but I feel like it's a smaller selection than it was years before.
I feel like that's because of the luxury designer's decision. Because you can't find Dior anywhere unless you're at Dior. You can't find Chanel anywhere unless you're at Chanel. And I've noticed that Fendi is kind of starting to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're just making it more exclusive so you want it. I mean, if everyone and their mother is able to buy something, do you really want it? I would hate to leave the house and see like 4 other people wearing the same thing I am.
Okay, I agree. I was gonna say, I mean, I would still buy it even if my dad or my mom or whatever had it, but
yeah,
but yes, you don't want to be wearing the same outfit as someone else, and you want to have that, exclusive look that no one can really buy. I get it. I understand it.
But then I feel like these more contemporary brands that are $300 or $400, like the clothing it's not made the same.
But it's still good quality though.
It's still good quality.
It's the same quality, I feel like, as the others.
But there's a difference.
You think so?
Yes.
Ooh. What kind of difference? Like in terms of like stitching or in terms of like just
the overall, yeah.
Okay, so like the overall process of how it's made.
Because I know, like I worked in a bridal boutique, and I remember looking at these wedding dresses at the boutique, and I was like, "There's no way that this is worth $5,000." I am not gonna buy
which boutique? I think I know which one you're talking about.
Well, no, it doesn't matter which boutique because they're all the same. It's like the inside, it's not like there's no lining. It's like, what is this?
Right.
And I feel like I remember when I tried on a $60,000 dress from Ralph and Russo.
You felt luxurious. You felt the experience.
Yes, like you could feel what they put into that product.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, yes, like
this is $60,000.
Yeah, this is totally worth it. If I had the money, I'd be like, here you go. This is mine. It's a work of art, and I feel like that's what you lose when you're buying these more contemporary, edgier brands. They're just there for the trend. Mm-hmm. But the luxury brands are here for like the craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Like the works of art.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree with that process because I think what makes luxury is just the art and the story and the layer, like the heritage behind it. Chanel's not Chanel. Chanel wouldn't be Chanel if it didn't have the camellia, lining or the monograms or like even like the CCs. Like it wouldn't be Chanel without those little codes that are implemented. Same with Dior, same with Fendi, Balenciaga, Balmain, all those. Mm-hmm. And I think our generation is not really. If you're into fashion, obviously you're looking at those.
Yeah.
But our generation who are not into fashion, who are just buying clothes because it's cute or buying clothes because they want to look good, they're not really looking at those things.
They're not. And then I know people who like just if you're born with money, you buy clothes based on like how they're made.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But if you come into money, I've realized that they just want the name. So every freaking person has the black Chanel bag. And I know you want that, but
the flap.
Oh my god! So
see, okay, I want the jumbo one. I don't want the small one.
But everyone has it.
Who's everyone?
I have seen every human woman with that bag. Oh, no. Or they have the shirt that says Chanel or YSL or this or that. They just want people to know. Look. I bought Chanel. Or,
I see.
They're not appreciating what went into it. Like, look at the other stuff, like a hot pink Chanel bag.
But maybe they bought the classic flap because it was not as. It's because the other stuff are a lot more expensive than the classic flap. The classic flap is cheaper price compared to the others. I feel like the boy bag is $1,000 more.
Oh, there was this boy bag.
And
it was iridescent green.
I knew it.
Oh my god.
I knew it.
But
yeah,
just appreciate what goes into luxury goods. That's all I have to say. And that's what I want to continue doing, and I hope will come back.
Yeah.
I hope that won't die with the baby boomers.
I feel you.
Like,
maybe the millennials will catch up on it.
Well, the older millennials, yes.
Yeah, the older millennials.
But like the younger ones where you're on the cusp, like me, like come on, guys.
Get it together.
Yes.
But okay, so before we actually wrap this up, kind of talk about your process of your design and your collection and all that stuff and what you're going through right now, just very quickly. It doesn't have to be
very quickly.
Long.
Okay, let's see. So quarantine happened. Coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? So I'm looking on Pinterest, seeing like if I can get inspired by anything. Mm-hmm. And I remember I love wicker.
Mm.
I don't know why. Love it. So I thought, okay, what's kind of similar?
The wicker.
Like wicker chairs.
Oh, okay.
Wicker baskets.
Got it.
Then I thought woven baskets.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then I saw a plant in the background. I was like, that's a cool plant. It's like random things. When you're bored, you're just like, all right, I could do something with this.
Yeah.
And then I thought, tropical leaves. I kind of like some palm leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So I started just putting like a print together because I really wanted to make prints.
Yeah.
In this collection. So then I would just manipulate these leaves or flowers. And I found one of the photos that I liked. I liked the colors that they had. So I took out the colors and put the colors into my collection. And my entire collection is from this one photo. The colors. And I really like the palm leaves. So if you look at my collection, you're going to be like, yep, leaves. That's what she was inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of ways, okay, how can I put a leaf? I know it seems really simple and unimaginative, but I feel like when you look at the collection, you won't think that. Because I thought of different ways to kind of show a leaf motif.
Got it. Okay.
And then, so I sketched out designs, I worked on prints, I got them made from this company, Contrado, in London, and then I got, in trouble here. Not in trouble, but like when I'm working with a production company now, and I remember when I went to talk to somebody about getting a print made, they said, there are so many people in LA, why are you going overseas? It's like, I just went on Google and I found this one and they seem to have good reviews.
Yeah.
I understand that was stupid at this point since they don't do production fabric.
They don't. They only do 5
like sample yardage.
Yeah, sample yardage.
So,
and you have to buy multiples of that.
I understand now, but I would do that, I look for fabric at Mood.
Mm-hmm. They have a wholesaling program like too at Mood Fabrics, right?
If you buy a certain amount of fabric, I know they give you a discount. I don't know about a wholesale.
Okay.
I didn't look that into it.
Okay. Because I remember seeing something like they have like a wholesaling program where like they have like certain fabrics that's available continuously on like that you can just buy. So like you know how like if you go to like a Jobber, which is like a Mood or like a downtown LA fabric store, or even Joann's, they only have that fabric in stock and they don't have it anymore. So that if you use that for your collection, where are you gonna find that specific fabric for your collection? It's gone. You can't find it. But I know with Mood, they do like a wholesaling thing where it's like if you buy the sample yardage and then you need more, like 50 yards or 60 yards.
Oh, they can work with like the mill?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I remember I'd look at what's closed out and what's reorderable.
Mm-hmm.
But then the company I'm working with convinced me that they can get fabric for cheaper. So my cost wouldn't be really high. And it turns out they were right. Because I'm working with them.
Yeah.
But I know when I got the collection made, I was still kind of hesitant about starting because it's terrifying. It's a lot of money. And I remember researching into the Evans group who I'm working with now, and I really liked their pricing. They wanted to work with an emerging designer. And even though I've gone to school, I've worked at BCBG, I don't have the experience to make a collection from scratch. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the terms. I'm at a loss until I do this. And I remember you texted me like the next day and you're like, oh, hey, I found this one place called the Evans Group. Okay, cool. If you found it too, then this must be a good place.
Right.
So then I bit the bullet and I emailed them. Thank God you already emailed them beforehand, so I kind of asked you a couple questions. I
had already met with the
Sam,
the client or the client director, whatever her title is. I had already met with her. Well, I had spoken to her. We had emailed back and forth, and then spoken with her through phone. And like I was talking about the collections, I showed her my pieces, and she was like, yeah. She gave me the pricing and all that stuff. I also met with the founder, or not met with her, but like spoke to the founder. I think her name is Jennifer Evans, and she kind of regurgitated the same thing that Sam kind of said. But it was a great experience because they definitely work with emerging designers as well as established designers, like we did with Darte's collection. They did Jonathan Sinkai's. They work with a lot of really cool people, and they know what they're doing, especially with like the craftsmanship. Because in LA, it's hard to find the artisans that you would need to create a collection of that's tailored, that's very like luxury. In Los Angeles, you would have to go to Europe to do that, like Paris or Italy, and that's expensive to do it there, and especially quality control. You don't know, like if it's abroad, like some people go to China, some people go to other places to do the thing. And if you go abroad, you don't know what they're doing, so you can't tell. When you get the product, it can be like not done to the specifications that you wanted it.
Yeah.
So think of, I have a friend who used to do all of her production in China. That's where she would get all her designs, get all her collection made. I remember she wanted to do a fashion show. She was doing a fashion show in Paris, and that was the fashion show that I went to when I went to Paris. And literally, she had her samples made in China with this manufacturer. When it came to her hotel in Paris, wrong. Everything was wrong. Everything was not made to what she had said. One of the dresses was just like not tailored right. The hemming was wrong. It was just so bad that she was like, I can't go down the runway. Luckily, she had collections from she had like pieces from previous seasons that she just showed just to show. Yeah. Because she wasn't in the French market, so it's like, okay, well, I'll just show these because they haven't seen it, so whatever. But it sucks because if you have a new collection, you want to have that made, and you don't have quality control, like that's the sucky part of it all.
No, I liked working with it. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
It's like your first collection. And I know let's see. We're sourcing fabric right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that the hardest part? Do you think that's like the hard part too, or is that kind of like?
No, that's the easiest for me. I'm very like I can make a decision. Sometimes I'm indecisive about some things, and I'll probably need a second opinion. But really, I know what I want.
For me, that's the hardest part because I still don't know how fabric works. Because like certain fabrics work for certain garments.
But you can always ask them, because sometimes I'll say like, okay, what do you think? Like, have you made something with this? And sometimes you are going to be the first designer to do so. I mean, I know now that, well, one of my designs, they're telling me I may have to change it because it may not be possible.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, because I wanted to make for this collection, or this new collection that hopefully I'm gonna have done sometime next year. I wanted to create this like bodysuit and have this like little like ruching or like gathering at the top, and it would be like a strapless bodysuit. And I was told I can't do it with any type of fabric. I would have to get like I would have to be bone because it's gonna be like a corset. Yeah. Two, they said the fabric that I wanted to use that looked so beautiful, I couldn't use it. And I was just like, well, what can I use? They showed me this fabric. They said I can use either like gauze or this like charmeuse or even like a crepe. And I don't mind using the crepe fabric or crepe silk, but I really like this other fabric. It was just so gorgeous.
I know.
But like but that's the thing. I don't know these things. I don't know that you have to use specific fabric for specific garments, or it would just look terrible. Even one of the pieces for my first collection, I had to take it out because I wanted to use this. I guess this Mikoto silk double. What is it? What is it called? What's the word? It's like a double facing or like a double. It's thick. I'm trying to think of a word. It's thick. Basically, it's thick. It's kind of like a taffeta, but it's not a taffeta.
Yeah.
So I used it for one of my like dresses. So right now I have 4 dresses, 1 top, 2 pants, and a coat that I made. Oh, and a blazer. I would have had 5 dresses, but that dress with the Mikoto silk that I was using, it didn't come out right. Mm-hmm. It just looked awful. And she said it's the fabric. My pattern maker said it was just the fabric. And I was like, why didn't you tell me in the beginning?
Yeah, because sometimes you don't know.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, it was okay. I mean, it was a learning experience. It was my first collection. Luckily she only made the sample, so we just scrapped it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I don't need to do that. And she didn't charge me for it anyways, because then she was like, whatever you want to make and go into production, I'll just charge you for that. Whatever you don't, that's fine. So it's like, cool.
But yeah, but also what you need to think about when designing is like what elements you're putting into the design, so it doesn't cost too much, because sometimes there's a lot of work that goes into it. So one of the suits I'm having for this current collection, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Apparently you have to do most of it by hand. Oh. So they're telling me we may not be able to do it, otherwise you'll have to pay the sample cost.
Really?
Yeah, so we're gonna see. I'm really hoping that we can figure it out and I don't have to change it, but that is.
I think the sourcing and all that's the hard part, because, maybe for me it's the hard part because I don't know what, like, hook and eyes, like all those like buttons, like zippers, all that stuff. I don't know how, like, I know production can help with you, but
they would tell you what you need.
I went with a not so conventional, I didn't go with a big production company like you're with right now. I went with like a smaller production company. So they didn't provide that information for me. So I didn't luck out on that end. I kind of, I was SOL. Oh no, SL. What is it? Yeah, SOL.
SOL.
Yeah.
But so when you're making a collection, if you can't make it by yourself, the Evans Group has been really wonderful to me so far. Also,
look in your if you're not in Los Angeles, look at your local. There's gotta be manufacturer wherever you're at.
But you can work with them
from across the way, but like we said, quality control. But I mean, the Evans Group is really good. So I think if you are in Minnesota or wherever part of the United States you're at, you can still probably use the Evans Group, and because they do a really great job.
Yeah, because they said they work with other people outside of Los Angeles. Like they didn't even realize I was here.
Oh, they thought you were.
Yeah, they're like, wait, are you local? I'm like, yes. They're like, oh, you want to come down? Yes, I would love to.
That's so funny because they didn't even ask me. I even sent my email, oh, I want to come down and see your facility. And they were like, they didn't even say, they didn't respond to that. And then when I continued the conversation, they did ask me if I was local. I was like, yeah. I was like, well, you want to come? And I was like, I said I wanted to come in the beginning. I just thought because of COVID, you didn't want me to come.
No, I just think they're not used to it.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the conversation that we have today. If you guys have any more questions or anything that you want to add, or you just want us to do a part 2, definitely let us know.
There's more.
There is more. There's a whole lot more because designing and production never stops.
This is just the tip.
Very, very.
Because there's still a lot more that you need to know when pricing, when determining your brand, and just creating. There's like fabrication too, like you were saying, and I can recommend a couple things. So maybe we'll talk.
I think we should do an episode on fabrication because that I feel like for me, if you're like a non-designer background like me, you would need that information because that's the most important part, and I feel like she kind of has more of an understanding of that. Or we can both, because I bought a lot of books. I'm a nerd where I read a lot, so I get all my information from reading, then doing, and then after I get off all those information, then I start doing. Or I do it simultaneously. I read and I do it at the same time. But sometimes you kind of have to get that experience first before you start reading anything. But yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you just learn more.
While doing. So, but yeah, so let us know what you want us to discuss or to conversate about. We'll definitely do that. And like, share, comment, subscribe. You all know what you want to do.
Yep.
Just do it. But this is John.
Ariel.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.